Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Murder Most Misfortunate. So we're gonna pop back in the dining hall and see if we can ask the Magic Man, whatever the hell his name is, uh, Horatio. Aha!
Horatio, dear, are you certain you won't tell me about this special announcement that the prince was going to make?
I was expecting.
Of course. My lips are sealed.
Oh, ho hum. Then I suppose I'll just have to tell you about it.
You... what?
It had to do with this, didn't it?
Alakazam. How did you get that?
I rather wish I knew that myself. But for now, I think it's best to stay on track while the wizard is still wonderstruck. Tut-tut, my dear. Magicians aren't the only ones who get to
Investigated the body.
secrets. The important thing is what the prince planned to do with it. It was his, wasn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, it was. Well, it wasn't exactly for him, you see. Yet, oh dear.
No need to worry, darling. I already know exactly what it was for.
He was going to sell it. He was going to propose to me.
It's simple, really. He was going to propose to Charisse.
And what makes you say that?
Come now, my dear. It doesn't take a fortune teller to see that he'd been doing everything in his power to sweep her off her feet. Add to that a diamond ring sized for her slender little fingers, and the story all but writes itself.
It is true that he was quite, taken with her, yes. I mean, who wouldn't be, really?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Sweet, demure, pliable, and very, very rich. Just the type for the prince.
Who
I'm
wouldn't
sure.
be? He's in love with her too. So see? Dude. He was the only other dude here, that's why I said that in the very beginning. Like, he could have killed him because he was in love with Charisse and the prince was going to marry her. Or Charisse could have done it because she knew he was only after money, or Leah could have done it because he was only after Charisse's money and she was jealous, and I don't know why the Comtessa would have done it. Like, what the fuck? I don't know.
You're not going to tell Miss Charisse about this, are you? Surely it would only make things even harder for her.
No, at least not yet. Like I said, sometimes I like to have a secret or two up my sleeve myself. But confirming that I was right about the prince's intent certainly does paint this mystery in a whole new light. So, that Klops fellow, he was the prince's valet. Have I got that right?
Yes, that's right. Mr. Tor is the butler, but today's his day out.
Klops,
So
Centaur,
is he,
Cyclops,
a
Centaur.
good valet, then? I only ask because I just found him skulking about in the brush outside, and I wasn't really sure if that was the sort of things valets usually do.
Was he now? Well, I can't say I know terribly much about the exact duties of my dear friend's household staff, but I know he did some gardening from time to time.
Indeed, gardening. I believe he said something along those lines as well.
Yes, well, he was quite good at whacking weeds. Or
Whacking
so
what
I
now?
heard.
I suppose that sounds about right. If I were a weed, or really, even if I wasn't, I wouldn't want to get whacked by him either. Was he happy with his work? Do you know?
Come to think of it, he did seem a bit jealous of Mr. Tor's position from time to time.
No doubt being a butler pays better than a mere valet. Though I'm not sure how either stacks up against a grand magus.
Need I remind you, Misfortune, I'm not, was not, an employee of the prince's household.
But of course, how silly of me. So back to Mr. Klops, then. Do you know if he had issues with money? Might he badly have needed a raise?
Really couldn't say. Perhaps someone on the staff did, though. I did sometimes hear Mr. Tor complain about small valuables going missing.
So very
The prince was wanting them.
interesting. You've been a great help, my dear Horatio.
It is my pleasure to be of service.
I'm sure it is. Where have we not gone? The queen bedroom. The breaker room and the smoking room. Oh, let's just go to the queen bedroom. That's probably where the Comtessa is. I doubt she's in the breaker room. Haha.
In the queen bedroom, I found my old social acquaintance, the Comtessa. To say that I trusted her was going much too far. But I had certainly known her longer than anyone else there that evening.
I mean, I can't think of why she would murder him except for the possibility that she's in love with him. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Besides that, I knew her to have an ear for gossip and an eye for detail.
Doesn't seem as
If there
exciting.
was anyone who could tell me a little more about the cast of our little drama, it was her.
There you are, Misfortune, darling. I must say this whole affair is just dreadful, isn't it?
Tragic. Truly tragic.
Prince Titanico was an eccentric man, but he knew how to put on a show. Sadly, this is rather more than I expected, I'm afraid.
Are we really sure he didn't plan the whole thing after all? You know, have the last laugh, go out with a bang, that sort
Aha.
of thing.
Oh, no, my dear, I don't think so. The prince, by all accounts, was far too fond of himself for that.
Pity. It would have made for such a delicious story. Not to mention no longer having to worry about a possible killer being on the loose.
Quite so.
Comtessa, darling, I just heard a delectable little morsel of gossip and simply must share it with someone.
Why, some scrumptious gossip is just what I need right now. Do tell me more, dear.
I was talking to the Leah girl, you know, Sharice's little hanger-on, and she hinted that she'd been feuding with her family and was more or less kicked out of the house.
Oh my, how sad for the poor young thing.
To be honest, if she lived with me, I'm quite sure I'd do the same. But do you know anything about who she is?
I dare say I know a little. Her parents were wealthy moguls in the technology sector. That is, until about a year ago.
I know a little.
Ugh, of course they were. No wonder I didn't know who she was. I find all that technobabble so terribly dull. So, what happened?
Someone leaked the company's most sensitive records.
Oh.
Records that suggested corporate espionage and other unsavory business. Thanks to a rather exorbitantly priced lawyers, the family avoided a prison sentence, but the company was ruined.
Rude.
I see. Do you think, then, that our very own Miss Leah was...
The one to leak the files? Oh, darling, it's unseemly to speculate about such things. All I know is that they always said it must have been an inside job.
Is that like... Well, here's the weird thing. Like, that's like her elbow. That's her elbow. And then this is supposed to be like her hand. Is that supposed to be like her hand backwards and then like she's reaching backwards and that's like her... Because it just looks fucking weird. It's creeping me out.
A self-righteous brat who will send her own family up the river if that's what it takes to do what she thinks is right. And here I thought I couldn't like her any less than I already did.
I don't know. I mean, you've murdered your husbands.
Darling, I have a little confession to make. Although I'd met our good host, ex-host, a number of times, I'm afraid I never really knew him, if you understand what I mean.
I hardly expect you're the only one in that situation, my dear. The prince had this maddening habit of talking all the time and yet somehow still saying
No, I
very
thought she meant
little.
by knew him, like she hasn't slept with him yet.
So was he really a prince then? Do you know?
These days, title really does not mean what it once did. After all, how many do you have now?
Oh, let me see. At least 3. All by marriage, of course. Sometimes it can be hard to keep track.
Just so. No doubt our late prince could make some claim or another. But these days, who can't? Just about anyone can claim a tenuous connection to some great old family that was thought lost in the Revolution. And it's so hard to prove them wrong. And as long as there isn't money involved, no one much cares to try.
So he called himself a prince, and that's about all anyone knew. He wasn't married or anything, was he?
Was gonna be.
Good heavens, I hope not. You did see him doting all over our sweet little Charisse, didn't you?
Come now, Comtessa. You and I both know that's proof of nothing.
So cruel, but so true. Still, if he was ever married, I never heard of it.
And you do have such a knack for hearing interesting things, darling. If there was anything to hear, I dare say
You know all of the gossip.
Oh, modesty
Ugh.
forbids.
Modesty forbids. I could have read this one because I could so do her. She's such a character. It's too late
In
now.
any case, it would seem our late prince was quite the enigma then. At least I can feel glad that I wasn't the only one in the dark.
About Charisse.
I don't know.
It would take
about
half the time
you,
because I read
but
faster.
I can't shake
They
the
talk.
impression that Miss Charisse was, for lack of a better term, the guest of honor this evening. What do you know about her?
Oh, the poor girl. She's an only child, and her parents passed away just recently.
Yes, I feel for her. An enormous inheritance, and all of a sudden no one around to tell her how to spend it. The family, they were industrialists, were they not?
That's right, though by the end they were into pretty much everything. Manufacturing, banking, real estate, and more. They were a bit close-lipped about their net worth, but certainly one of the richest private families in the empire.
This is
And
very
if
weird.
I recall correctly, they were a new money family, too.
New money.
Money-grubbing upstarts. I think I heard them called at court from time to time.
Did you really? I don't doubt it, of course.
That sounds like something we can ask.
My word. That place can be just so beastly sometimes.
That sounds like something we could ask Charisse about, the new money thing.
Actually, I thought that was rather tame. You should hear the things they call me.
Oh, yes, they can say such horrid things about widows like us. Sometime you and I will have to swap stories of the more creative ones. When the circumstances are more pleasant, of course.
Of course.
We'll just go down the line.
You know, it was really quite shocking. One minute the prince was playing host and telling ghost stories, and next thing you know, we all come running and he's dead on the floor.
Whoops.
Oh, indeed. That was a surprise of a most unpleasant nature.
Unpleasant
Where were
nature.
you when you heard the news? It was that one-eyed shambler in the ill-fitting coat who found me in the other bedroom. Did he find you first?
No. In fact, I was in here. And it was that young man with a decidedly orangish hue who brought
That
me the news.
young man with a decidedly orangish hue who brought me the news. Oh, I swear. Oh, darling, it was just dreadful. I was alone in this horrid room, so dirty.
Our oh-so-helpful Horatio. He must have been done fixing the
I
lights
think it could have been
then.
everybody.
Yes, they'd only just come on. I must say, he was in quite a state, with those robes of his flapping about everywhere. I expect I would have laughed if he didn't look so
We probably laughed a
distressed.
little bit anyway.
Oh, alas, such a wasted opportunity.
That's a wasted opportunity to laugh at him.
Mind you, he didn't tell me exactly what the matter was at first. I'm not sure he knew himself. He only said that something had happened, and we had to gather everyone together right away.
And our two little darlings. You found them on the way back then?
Precisely, just as we were coming back down to the main floor.
Well, it's good we've got that all straightened up. With so much running about the house, it's enough to make one's head spin trying to sort it all out.
Oh my word, yes! I used to get quite bad headaches myself, especially back when I was with my second husband. Mind you, those only ever seemed to come on when he was telling golfing stories.
My dear, I know exactly what you mean.
This cracks me up because, like, you've got the Comtesse who's had 4 husbands, you've got Misfortunate who's had 9 husbands, and then you have, like, the prince who was going to marry the girl for money. And I'm just like, it's just so weird that, like, while they're all having these conversations, I'm just picturing this in The Sims, like Black Widow challenge, like Black Widow against Black Widow. But then I'm like, no, you have to have the Black Widower. You have to have the dude who's now trying to marry rich ladies to get money to keep up the appearances that he has money. But then he's coming across these actual Black Widows who have had multiple husbands, and to see if he can kill them before they kill him. I need to do this. Oh my god, this is hilarious.
So how did you know Prince Titanico then? I met him at an art auction myself. How about you?
Oh, I hardly knew him at all, really. He was an acquaintance of my late husband's. They played cards together sometimes at his club, or so I understand.
I see. Is this the first time you've seen him then, since your husband passed away?
Well, he came to the funeral, but other than that, yes. Yes, it is.
Don't you think it's a little odd that he would invite you out to a rather small event like this, when your husband was the one he actually knew?
He said he thought I would appreciate the historical nature of the estate, and he's not wrong on that count. Perhaps he may have also thought I'd be a little lonely, being recently widowed and all. That part's nonsense, of course. A woman in my position gets rather used to it. But it's sweet of the dear boy to try.
Yes, indeed. One does get used to it. Husbands come and go. It's the way of the world,
Husbands come and
really.
go.
Too true.
I'd helpfully noted the garish red color of the bed the first time we visited the room. But this time, something looked off. Near the top of the bed, the color looked darker than before. I reached beneath the pillows, and sure enough,
Another one.
it was a knife with a distinctively wavy blade. A blade that was covered with blood. I'd wager a good portion of my last husband's life insurance that the blood belonged to Prince Titanico himself. So, there hadn't been just one knife, but 2. But which one had stabbed the prince? Or had they both? My discovery seemed to have led to more questions than answers, but one way or another, I was certain that this was a critical piece in the puzzle of the prince's death.
I say, darling, what have you got there?
I was
Well,
pushing the button, but
it
it wasn't
seems
clicking.
to be a knife. I found it here under the pillow.
A knife? Goodness, do you think it could be the murder weapon?
I'm not sure, but it very well could be. Let's just leave it here, shall we? I'm sure the police will want to know about it later, but for now, it will be our little secret.
Very well, dear. I do so love a good
I do
secret.
so love a good secret. Sounds all devious. Is that supposed to be like windows?
On a small table near the center of the room sat a little book, the kind one could write in. Could it be a
Little
diary?
books that you could write in.
And by reading it, might I steal a forbidden glimpse into the inner life of some member of the once mighty Lee family? But to my great disappointment, I found the pages empty. Ah, well, I suppose that hoping to discover the defiant last words of the infamous Lamika Lee written in blood really would have been a bit much to
A
ask.
little bit.
I couldn't make out the lady in the ruined portrait, but I assumed it must be some grand old dame of the Lee household. Why had she been left behind, I wondered? Had the rest of the family simply not
I mean,
liked
it
her?
looks like her picture was gouged with a knife.
Mind you, if I ever had to sell one of my estates, I'd rather fancy leaving behind as many self-portraits as I could spare. You know, just so that the new owners would feel like I was keeping an eye on them.
They toss that shit out.
A set of old vases sat on the dresser. Could there possibly still be anything
Ew.
in them? The neck of the nearest vase was too narrow for me to see anything inside at
Dump
a
it on the
glance.
floor.
I suppose I could have stuck my hand in to feel around, but there could easily
Yeah,
be a
gross.
mouse or a spider lurking in there. No, that would be a much more suitable job for Miss Charisse and those small, dainty hands of hers, I think.
It's weird. You don't get any clues from actually searching anything, to be honest with you. So I'm thinking that, like... Oh, and now the pillow, you can't click on it. Oh, interesting. Weird. Okay. There's nothing else. Yeah, we already did that. Okay, so we'll leave this room. I want to go back to the main hall. I want to see, now that we've heard that Charisse's new money, I want to see if there's any... If we can say that to her. We didn't learn anything else about that dude. Aha. We didn't learn anything else about Lee, I don't think.
So, my poor
Well,
little
maybe.
girl. I was talking to my friend the Comtessa, and she told me she'd heard people at court say the rudest things about your late family.
I suppose they might have done. Sometimes people will say things that are quite unkind. I try not to let it bother me.
Still, it must be awfully hard being a new money family when there are so many busybodies who go on and on about tradition and blue blood and that sort of thing.
Oh, I don't think so. Some people will say cruel things about anybody. I've heard them say things even about the Comtessa, too. So it wasn't just us.
About the Comtessa, really? I thought you said you didn't listen to that sort of thing.
I try not to. But Titanico talked about it sometimes. I think he knew the Comtessa's last husband before he passed
Interesting.
away.
My goodness! Surely he didn't imply that she was in any way responsible. That would be unthinkable.
I mean, she already had 3 other husbands.
Well, he did say there were rumors. But I'm sure that's all there
So,
were.
rumors.
Like I said, people say nasty things sometimes.
Yes, my dear. They most certainly do.
Leave. We've already examined the room. I don't think there's anything for us to learn here. Can we go back to the king bedroom? I don't think... There's nothing to explore, but yes, can we skip this? I just want to see if there's anything new with Leah. I doubt there is after talking to the Comtessa. Nope, okay. And then I don't know if there would be anything new with the Comtessa. Like, I don't want to find out what happens. I'm starting to feel like everybody's got, like, a motive, you know what I mean? But, like... No, there's nothing new. Leave! Alright, so... We only have 2 more rooms to go. I think we'll save those for the next part. Because then I have a feeling that that's pretty much the end. You know what I mean? Like once you've gotten through all of the rooms, I don't really know how it does it, but yeah. So and I know there's different endings, obviously. I don't know, depending on who you accuse. I'm assuming that I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that works. So obviously, like you can accuse somebody and then see what happens. Then you accuse somebody else, see what happens. Like you can accuse everybody, I guess. I don't know. Um, Everyone's got a thing, and I feel like there's no. So far from what I've seen, it doesn't. I don't feel like there's like anything that points specifically to anybody. So I'm kind of concerned about that. I'm not sure if we're supposed to be getting that, or if we're like going to like you could accuse anybody and they would you would be technically right. Like I mean I don't know. So anyway, I will wrap this part up here. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.